This is part two of the double page spread analysis. This is like the fifth time recording, so hopefully it'll work this time. Right, this double page spread is from Guitarist magazine, which is particularly relevant to my work as it's a Guitarist magazine, which is the same sort of demographic and style as my magazine, and subject point, never mind all that. The article itself is also a look into and a review of this guitar, which is the main feature picture, which we'll go on to later. And for my work in particular, I'm doing a review of a guitar for the double page spread, and so this is particularly relevant to my work. First thing to take note here is the big, large picture of the guitar, which is so large it in fact doesn't even fit in its entirety on the 2 pages. It takes up most of the 2 pages for one thing and doesn't even fit on. Perhaps a way of the writers to sort of imply that the guitar is larger than life. Another thing to take note here is the colours of the guitar in particular are yellow, brown, silver and green, all of which are bright colours and have a contrast with each other somewhat, as the silver metal contrasts with the wood of the guitar and creates this contrast. The headline of the masthead is First Play, which, while informing the reader of what the article is about, it also informs them that it's obviously their first play of the guitar as part of their review. Another thing to take note here is that the first play is in 2 different colours. First is in white, which white being often connoted as the colour of innocence relates to the fact that it's their first play of a guitar, so they're sort of innocent to the whims of the guitar when they eventually start to play it. And play is in orange, which is a bright colour that contrasts with a dark background. That's another thing with the dark background and the bright guitar contrast, as sort of maybe imply that the guitar is sort of like a light at the end of a tunnel. You know, it's one good guitar and masses of terrible guitars. But anyway, back to play. It's in bright orange, and orange is, you know, a bright colour, and bright relates to sort of warmth and happiness, and that it's a very bright, positive colour. And play is, again, it's a very positive, bright word. You know, it's often related to, well, musicians or children, and it's something positive. Another thing here on this particular double page spread is the title of the article, which, unlike the Kerrang one above and the other Kerrang one, which I'll go on to later, below, this title is not the main feature of the magazine. It's not the main feature of this particular article. It's in fact a very small part of the article. It's almost an afterthought. It takes up so little of the actual article. If it wasn't bright white, you might not have noticed it. It's just big enough so that you notice it as the start of the article, but just small enough so that the primary focus of the reader is on the guitar, which is what they would be interested in, assuming that's why they bought a guitar magazine. And again, very similar to the Kerrang magazine. Both Kerrang double page spreads is the fact that the first letter of the article is a big, bold, well, it's a big, bold font, several sizes bigger than the rest of the text. And it's in white, as is the rest of the text of the article, which contrasts with the dark background for ease of read, which is again also very similar to both of the other double page spreads. As the first one in particular, the first MCR one, the first Kerrang one about MCR, that's black background with a white text. So something there to take note of is that my particular design could very well be black with white, as that seems to be a very popular choice for colours. And that's it for this double page spread. I'll be moving on to the third one in a second.